Let's go, crew! Congratulations, MLS champions. We are the members of Sgt. Peppercorn's Marathon. This is Jesse, Phil, and myself, Joe. And we are going to be playing every Beatles song, and we are going to be celebrating the crew. And if you know anyone on the crew who wants to sing all together now at our show, please tell them to come. Tell them that I am basically best friends with Brian McBride since I served in bagels in 1997 at Sammy's Bagels on Lake Avenue. What's up, Brian McBride? Go, crew! Fans since 1996. Let's sing it all together now.
December 30th, Columbus Athenaeum. Please come join us.
So far, the crew has cleared every hurdle naysayers have placed in their way. Columbus would be home to one of the 10 inaugural teams. Columbus has outperformed much larger cities. The true success indicator has been from the fans.
Well, it's boys night out. And don't you know we're gonna
Hello, welcome to the club. I'm your host, Mars. This is the Upper 90 Club, a roundtable podcast where five friends continue to bask in the glory of the Columbus crew.
Still champions.
Still champions.
Still
Yay.
champions.
Let me double check.
They're
Still champions.
They're sewing the third star on my Camaro right now. On this episode, we're going to talk through just, I guess, a few new crew news update kind of things, talk about a few off-season happenings forthcoming, contracts, etc. And then want to spend a little time talking about just the timeline of our season, kind of go through some of the changes that we saw that led up to our glorious victory, a week, 2 weeks ago now. I want to talk about the Open Cup.
Wow.
Maybe a couple other things. Bird, unfortunately, is sick. So
Get better.
Get well,
somewhere, some
T's and
mother
P's.
bird somewhere is feeding him barf or something. With me in the club are Ben, Mort, Trey, and Haas. Say hi, guys.
We
Hi, guys.
are the
Sure.
champions. Continuous champs.
Still.
So, in preparation for this episode, I was reminded that last year we were well into the off season because of our untimely exit from. We never really even entered the off season last season. We just or the postseason.
The
We never
MLS.
entered the postseason. We got direct access to the off season.
But think about that though, because the season was done earlier because of the World Cup, and
Yeah.
we were in the middle of the World Cup. We were getting close to like the peak of the World Cup at this point, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We
So
started
think about
a,
right.
That's
Yeah.
we started a crew
This was-
podcast while we were terrible, and now we're
It
the
was
best
like-
team in the entire world.
It was like late loss, late tie, 2 goals from Etienne to tie in the in stoppage time, and late loss to Charlotte. And now you have to fill time until the World Cup starts.
and we were the only people listening to us. Who was like, "Oh, we got 6th place. That's cool."
Well, so anyway, so what we did, if you guys remember, I'm interested to hear. Toward the beginning of December last year, the Oxford Dictionary Word of the Year was published. And I wanted to know if you guys can remember what that was. Does anyone remember what the Word of the Year in 2022 was?
Oh man,
Um,
did I post that? Was I the one that said it?
No.
Mars did.
I brought this up as a topic.
Yeah.
We talked about it, and then we tried to work it in.
Was
I
it
think
a-
we each got to work it in
oh,
the episode. I'll spare you any further suspense.
What's it start with?
It was like a made-up
Impossible?
word, right?
option?
Goblin mode.
Oh.
It was started with
Okay.
goblin mode.
Goblin mode. Oh yeah.
So if you don't remember what goblin mode is, it's the behavior of someone who wants to feel comfortable and do and eat whatever they want. So specific. Not caring about trying to be clean, healthy, or attractive. It's just describing me. I'm
Yeah, it's
constantly
bad.
in a state of goblin mode.
Yep.
Or about pleasing or impressing other people.
Still.
Anyway, so then I was kind of reliving that. And then I found that actually, because there are many outlets, there were actually other words in 2022. Dictionary.com's word of the year was woman. I know better than to get into any kind of analysis
One
of that.
man camera,
And then-
man. What was it?
oh yeah. That was the from the cognitive test.
Was it a binder full of women?
Yeah. And then Merriam-Webster's word of the year in 2022 was gaslighting.
Gaslighting. All right.
So anyway, just generally like Goblin Mode.
Goblin Mode was
Gaslighting,
Chris
woman.
McCaw on Saturday over at Haas's house.
Yeah.
Cruz McCaw.
Oh yeah, so
We
you
redeemed a
guys.
Cruz
So let's
McCaw.
pause. Yeah, let's pause on this segment. You guys, instead of watching the Crew play on Saturday, you went to celebrate early Hosmus.
Yes.
Is that right?
Chris McCup.
Oz had
It's the annual Chris McCup party.
Okay, and I've been to a couple of these in years past.
It's my first. It's a good time.
What was the scene? Could you all have been?
The scene was Haas working really hard
Goblin
to get
mode?
everybody out of the Goblin mode was definitely in play. There was so much good food people brought in. Whoever
much
brought
meat.
the they ever brought the bacon stuff. That was
There's a variety of meats.
a lot of
There was
meats
like
and all
meat
that.
in the shape of a Christmas tree. Did you guys eat that?
I didn't see that.
I wish I wouldn't have said that out loud. Thinking back about like what I said. I like half of it. And I was like, I can't eat this.
It was a night of Haas trying to tell everybody you don't have to stand in the kitchen. We have a bar in the basement. There's plenty of space.
And then
But
making us
instead,
Sweet Dee's
everybody
Lounge.
tried to
Yeah.
everybody
Sweet Dee's
tried to
Lounge.
stand in the kitchen.
And a fire outside,
Yeah,
but
fire pit
everybody wants to
outside.
stand in the kitchen.
A fire outside. Wasn't that a band? Okay. So, and all that is to say that we would typically record on a Sunday, but we didn't record yesterday because I think you were all still
A little tired.
tired.
Yes.
I said that a
From,
lot yesterday. Daddy's a little tired today.
Okay.
Gross.
Yeah.
To who? The person at Myers?
Just leave it
Yeah.
alone.
I'll take a Gatorade because Daddy's pretty tired, Meyer employee Tom. He's like, get out of my store.
Okay. So, all right. So now the words have been published. I don't know if you guys have come across 2023
I have
words of
not.
the year, but I wanted to kind of quiz you and then just see if generally throughout today's discussion who can make the best use of these terms. So the off-brand dictionary.com and Merriam-Webster being noted as off-brand, I might add, for this year are hallucinate and authentic. There's not really much fun in those because we know what those words mean.
Also from
The
Saturday.
Oxford Dictionary word of the year in 2023 is Rizz.
Whoa.
Have you guys heard that word before?
I have.
That's
heard.
what I
Isn't
call
that
my
an artist?
That's what I call my
No.
child. The Rizz.
Okay.
Is it
well? So I
putting on the
I
Rizz?
generated a
Yeah, there's
I-
putting on the Rizz. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, I thought.
what does that mean? What is putting on the Rizz?
It's a song.
No.
Oh, okay.
Dun, 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 dun,
Pronunciations brought to you by the idiots of Upper 90 Club.
dun.
It's putting on the
The
Ritz.
Ritz?
Yes, that's putting on the Ritz.
Pronunciations.
All right. Yeah. So
Okay, close enough.
okay. So Rizz.
I don't-
Rizz. I'm gonna.
It's better
quiz-
than
I'm
most
Gonna,
rap rhymes. Come on.
I'm gonna give you a
Rap
Rizz quiz here
Rhymes.
and see if you can guess what it means. So Rizz is a Gen Alpha, Gen Z kind of term.
What is Gen Alpha?
And if you don't know what Gen Alpha is, that is the demographic that comes after Gen Z. It's like
You're gonna have to
anyone
walk all this
born
back.
in 2010.
Wait,
Alpha, because they all think they're like number one.
Is this like
Like they
actually
all
a
think
thing?
they're
starting
I have
like
not heard of that yet.
alpha.
Gen Alpha, yeah, they're starting over. It's Zeta Alpha. Yep.
But
Yeah, but
alpha,
that's
I'm
not part of
thinking
the
like
quiz.
the top.
Over.
You're the alpha. They think they're the.
You can say that about like every generation.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're wearing a
All
flat
right.
brim
So,
hat.
all right. So here are your options. Here are your
Kids.
options for Rizz. Listen carefully. And then do you guys have anything? You put this in the chat. Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
First option, slang term, short for real/authentic, as in when one speaks. I'm sorry, real or authentic, as in when one speaks. Example sentence would be, crew head coach Wilfred Nancy was so Rizz in his on-field interview after the MLS Cup final.
Sick.
Letter B. Colloquial word defined as style, charm, or attractiveness. The ability to attract a romantic or sexual partner. Example sentence would be, Cucho Hernandez got some serious Rizz.
That's also true.
Letter C. Term for reanimating or coming back to life. Example would be, it took me a few days after the MLS Cup final, but I'm up now, baby. I'm fully Rizz. Or for
I bet you are.
or for our Christian listeners and friends at Easter time, he Rizz. Okay. Letter D is causing feelings of acute embarrassment or awkwardness. Example sentence would be, for LAFC, the MLS Cup final was so Rizz. Okay, so what do you guys think? All right, I got 2 A's, a D, and a C. Everyone's wrong. It's it's letter B.
I was thinking it was either D or B.
Yeah.
Oh, is it
And it's short for charisma. It's short for charisma.
Oh,
Because
I love that he is
has
Rizz.
nothing to do with.
He Rizz.
He Rizz.
A colloquial word defined as style, charm, or attractiveness. The ability to attract a romantic or sexual partner. Cucho Hernandez got some serious Rizz. You could also call him a Rizz King.
They don't even know how to
Charisma.
spell it.
Riz
I mean,
King?
seriously. Z.
Yeah.
Pronounce that correctly,
Charisma?
please.
Rizz King.
Okay.
The Rizza, the Jizza, the old dirty bastard.
Yeah, don't add
Inspector
a J,
Deck,
please.
Raekwon, and the chef.
I thought it was D because I feel like the younger generation are more and more socially awkward. Wasn't that like a kind of an awkward kind of thing?
I
Yeah.
ripped that definition off of
Because
cringe.
when you go to a
that's the
fast food
definition
restaurant,
of
they
the
can't
word
even look you in the
cringe.
eye. If you try to look at them, they just get really awkward. It's fun.
Well, stop staring at children. Yeah.
All right.
Daddy's
so
tired.
so see if you can
Look at me.
see if you can use. Yeah, it's not.
Show us your ankle
See if you
bracelet,
can-
Mort.
He keeps looking me in the eye and just saying, "Daddy's
Turn
tired."
his camera off.
Hey. Hey, just polishing us a knob here, Ben, right?
Oh, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I like that. That was funny.
I'm not even.
Okay.
The 8 year or the 12 year?
So a couple housekeeping notes before we jump in. A Nordic board. What's the official term? Board of
Directors.
Yeah.
directors are holding nominations until the end of the year. So
Do not nominate us.
you-
We don't have time.
None of us, please. We will support
Yeah,
whoever
no-
is nominated.
No one
Except
would
Haas.
have done that.
So go ahead and put us.
No one would have done that. But if you know someone who's got Rizz, nominate them between now and the end of the year. And the elections will follow shortly after the new year.
Mhm.
Um,
I'm going to reach out and try to get some
Either-
people on if there's
We
actually
will
like
open
two
some.
people
We
running.
will open, and we will open up for some ad space, of course, if somebody
yeah.
with risk and money is willing to run.
Or free. We
Is-
made $0.
If you want to come on and plead your case, let us know.
yeah. So, and are we? We're not recording new between now and the end of the year, right? But we have a few things to publish, something to publish.
You have something
Yeah, we
better
got-
to do on the 24th?
Well, Bert and I
Yes.
interviewed Marco Micheletto, and we're going to release that on Christmas Day. So we're going to have Christmas with Marco, working title. And I think
Awesome.
I don't think we'll record again, so we might just republish like the Hot Ones episode because we've had a lot of new listeners since then. So we'll probably just,
Yeah.
the Hot Ones episode's like kind of fun, kind of a get to know us kind of deal. So we'll
Yeah.
probably do something like that.
The Micheletto conversation was what, a few weeks ago?
Yeah, it was before he dropped that he was going and playing for New Mexico, but he hinted during it that he was playing for another yellow team. And I insinuated that it was probably Borussia Dortmund, but I was a little off.
Still off.
But that conversation, I was listening back to it. That's my favorite interview so far. That guy is so nice. And he was completely
Awesome.
open, and I didn't have to go through anybody to like talk to him because he wasn't tied to the team. So he was like, I'm an open book. And I was like, let's go. So we
That's
got
okay.
deep.
Maybe we'll play them in the Open Cup or something.
Oh, transition.
Yeah, that's a good segue. So talk about that. Big news
That
in
was
the
a
Open
great
Cup.
transition.
Yep.
Go ahead, Trey. Tell us about it.
So it was announced on Friday that the MLS will no longer be putting in the top level teams, and it will be MLS Next Pro playing against the USL teams and any other teams that make it up through the ranks of the Open Cup. This caused a big stir for sure. I mean, everybody knows if you want to do a press release on a Friday, you're trying to bury it.
Not successful.
I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? I mean, I'll start off and say, I don't really care. I don't.
Yeah, don't we always just complain about Open Cup?
Well,
Yep.
yeah. Well, the basic
There's two ways
outline
to
of
look
this
at it,
thing.
though,
Yeah. There's a couple ways to look at it. I mean, the main one is this is in reality, it's what the oldest running soccer tournament in the United States. Is that correct?
Nobody attends. Correct.
Well, that's irrelevant. I mean, that's like that's
No, that is the definition of irrelevant.
No,
if
for
nobody
MLS
goes.
for MLS team that's the case. But think about when we went up to Detroit like 2 years ago. What was it? Detroit? We went like, they have the train coming through.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
The train was also.
I thought it was pretty cool. I'm not losing, but I mean,
yeah.
So I mean, go ahead, House.
Losing in Pittsburgh too, but that was another stadium I've never seen before, not familiar with.
Did they have
and
a
of course
train?
they were trash.
Everywhere
they were trash talking the crew once that was announced.
Correct.
Which
But,
in fair play was awesome.
yeah.
It was awesome shade. I loved it. I was like, touche, baby.
So there was a couple of things that got brought up today when I was chatting at work, and that was, if they were going to keep it with MLS teams playing, what would we do different? Because I don't think any of us are. I mean, I would much rather play in Leagues Cup and CCL against quality opponents that you actually want to see. I want to see Tigres. I want to see, name whatever Mexican club come in.
We played America. We played Club America, like
Club America,
the 5th biggest club in the world.
Yeah, and the teams from the West Conference we don't play very often. We got to play.
That was the other thing too. Like
that's another thing.
Counted it up today. We played 4 Western Conference games. Why?
In MLS regular season?
Correct.
Yeah, total.
Why?
And it's going to get worse because they're adding more teams.
Right. They could honestly have taken those 4 games and transitioned them into U.S. Open Cup matches, and none of us would have even cared. It wouldn't impact the standings. It's not a balanced schedule. That is.
So that's an
something
argument to keep it in
correct
detriment to the actual league points and whatnot.
You're taking away league games or whatever, but at the same point, it's like,
it's that big of a deal.
It's not. I think the best take I saw was from Ben's friend Alexi Lawless, where he said,
"Best friends,
best
me
friends."
And Ronald Dump.
At least you follow him on Twitter, so
I don't. I do not.
He said, "Do big." Do big and bold things leading up to the 2026 World Cup. MLS should buy USL, a strategic acquisition of the expansion of the business's footprint that brings much of American pro outdoor soccer under one tent. I have spoken. That's what he said. That's very Alexi. But I don't hate this. Like
the problem is I have so many issues with
ambitions.
how I have so many issues with how MLS is run with Don Garber.
Yeah, and that would change the landscape. But if you had 2 divisions, then you actually force people to spend money. There are a handful. The reason why we didn't get to more designated players this year is because there's owners that don't want to spend more money. I'm looking at like Real Salt Lake and Colorado and some of these teams that have no ambition.
Salt Lake has new ownership, Jazz ownership. So
okay, that's good. But my point is that some of these teams are just willing to be in there and just collect the money. That is called MLS. As an owner, you bought in early, now you're making money, they're expanding. But you have ambitious teams like India 11 that's building a downtown stadium and things like that that are going to like push the envelope. They should put some pressure on some of these other teams that are not willing to do those things.
I guess.
I think they should definitely. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, at the end of the day, like you're looking at it though, and like if the prize at the end of the year is MLS Cup or US Open Cup, or Supporter Shield or CCL or Leagues Cup. Open Cup
it's
is
very
the
last
last thing on that list.
Yeah, and you brought up a great point with Leagues Cup. The fact that I'd rather take a Leagues Cup spread
like
out
Leagues
through the
Cup.
year. Yeah, I like the Leagues Cup, but
Yeah.
let's
Yeah,
spread it out through
spread
the
it
year.
out.
Sure.
Instead of having a month stop
Like
on
like
playing
Champions
MLS.
League.
The other thing that
yeah.
we had chatted about too is that so over in England they've got, I mean, I forget what it's even called at this point now. Their version of the Open Cup is the FA Cup or Carabao
Whoever's
Cup, whatever it may
sponsoring
be.
Yeah.
Where it actually makes, so they've got what, 6 divisions, 5-6 divisions in
Like 8. Yeah.
top tier, and but
4.
you know a lot of those teams that have fallen from grace, the Sheffield Uniteds and Norwiches
Swansea.
and West Broms and Swansea, and you can go down through the list. You actually want to go and watch those teams play. They have a huge following. You know, Man United plays Norwich, or Man United plays Sheffield United, or
Bolton, Derby,
Bolton.
Plymouth.
Sunderland,
Old.
even.
I can't believe how brave you guys are. I'm just sitting here with my hand on the pronunciation trigger, just waiting to pick you
Leicester.
off.
Leicester
Spell
City.
Yarmouth.
Yes, but you have all of these teams that people actually
Spell Hanukkah.
care about.
Impossible.
There aren't that many USL teams that people really care about outside of the local fans.
Yeah, but how about this then? If they want to compete, have a chance to compete at the highest price, they make a carrot for them to get invited to, like the higher tournament. Let's say you take the top 4 teams and invite them to Leagues Cup and expand Leagues Cup or something like that. That's kind of a qualification.
I totally get that, but this is the other thing, and I hate to bring it back to football, but like this is like Ohio State playing Athens or Appalachia State or whatever it is. You could put whatever name of team on there. I'm not going to care. They're going to beat them 72-7. And if they happen to lose, whatever, I'm still not going to care about it.
But yet we lose to them.
Yeah,
because
that's
we don't play our top.
We don't care. Yeah, I know. I understand.
Yeah, we don't play our top talent going into
Lions
it.
Or
unless we're in like the semi or like
if it hits the semis or the quarters or the final.
I will compare it.
Yeah.
It's you can compare it the most to England and Leagues Cup, right?
Right.
Because League Cup in England is nobody cares about it until you're in the quarterfinal or semifinal. Before that, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, and I have an issue with that. So there's a rule. So last year, what we did is we played a bunch of like Crew 2 players, and that's how we lost or whatever. But the issue is, because I hit up Bird, and I was like, I remember this rule being a thing where if you play for the senior team like 2 or 3 times, you have to be offered a contract. So like if we have 3 or 4 games, all of a sudden we have to offer like all these Crew 2 players. Like, so we can't not play our actual starters. And I don't really want Rossi going up and playing on like a high school field in Pittsburgh.
A crappy turf. Like
yeah. So like
Pittsburgh.
the alternative is like, hey, why don't we, and I think the discussion in the boardroom was, well, if they were just playing their second team players or whatever, like let's just take the first team out of it and everyone will be fine, which is fine. But the problem is, again, if you want if the first team goes and you have all these secondary players and they have like 2 or all of a sudden like the Crew roster is going to be half Crew 2 players.
At the end of the day,
screwed.
every one of these tournaments is about money. This one does not generate money.
Yeah, but
Period.
it also is a lot. That's the only one in this country that truly have tradition. And if you're going to turn it all on the head now and say, hey, yeah, this is the one that got that. It's not even a USL. I have played for like qualification to be a part of US Open Cup like after college and playing in like Sunday League. We were 2 games from playing US Open Cup.
Yeah.
Because that was like that was a carrot to get to.
Yeah,
So
you
can
don't
start
care
from a
because
total
you're also
amateur.
like a Columbus Crew supporter. Like those people in Pittsburgh who are diehard Pittsburgh fans are like,
sure,
we got to be on a bigger, like we don't care or don't go to the
No,
games.
I'm totally coming from the big side of this, not the small.
Yeah. So like
So
I
US
see
is
the
bigger than
other
us,
side.
right?
Yeah, I see the other side. Another thing they could do is like start the US Open Cup like now and then have like a month of just like off whatever, and then do what we did
there
before. Where
is.
you can.
I mean, before the MLS teams even got to it, there were multiple rounds before that even happened.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It just ultimately, at the end of the day, I know it's the longest running one in the country. I know it has history, tradition, all this kind of stuff. I have a hard time really caring about it. I really do.
Who
I
won
want
last
to.
year's? Who won last year's Open Cup? Do you guys remember?
Name one Open Cup winner.
Orlando won 2 years ago.
Okay.
Because they beat Las Vegas or Rochester. Like,
that was a
And
pretty.
LA,
that was a
I
cool
know LA
burn.
lost this year to Houston.
I think it was Houston.
That was going to be my guess.
You guys are using graphing calculators. I see your TI-86 over there tapping away.
I'm playing Tetris and breaking blocks or whatever.
No,
But did I watch it? Nope.
Hey, no,
I mean-
really though. I
watched him. I loved him.
The MLS teams,
I love them.
by and large, blow off this tournament.
Correct.
It's usually a distraction. We typically complain about it. We want to win because we are called to the field, and then we're disappointed when we rotate the roster because we've got a bunch of games, and then we get knocked out, and it's like, what are we doing this for? I'm fully in support of. I mean, history or not, it's the right move.
It's been replaced. It's been replaced by the league.
Exactly.
For some teams, they're not playing in all these tournaments. They don't get the opportunity. Right. They didn't win MLS Cup. They didn't go far enough in the playoffs to have these extra tournaments and extra play in, what is it, Champions Cup now, not CCL?
Yeah, Champions Cup, which makes more sense.
So it's their opportunity to give their deeper bench spots playing time.
But the tournament's not going away, though. It's still there.
Yep.
For these teams.
No, I mean for the MLS teams. I think.
Are you talking
I'm talking MLS teams.
You're talking MLS
gotcha.
teams, so you get Quintons to get some minutes, right? But that's also why we also now have the one thing that is called
MLS Next Pro. Yeah.
Next Pro. Yeah, thank you.
So I don't love it, but I'm not all that upset about it.
Yeah.
I think
I have very mixed feelings about it, but
it's hard for me. It's hard for me to be on that side where I'm outraged about it because I'm not, and it's because I'm a Columbus Crew fan and not a Las Vegas
Indy 11
fan, like San Diego, Indy 11 fan. So whatever, but I mean, I do think we all point to that Cincinnati Crew game as, and Cincinnati does too, where this put them on the map, where they're like, hey, we can throw in 30,000 people to watch a game, and all of a sudden the MLS is like, oh crap, we're paying attention now because you just beat Crew 1-0 on a crap header, and you drew this many people, and then they kept it going, and then now they're an MLS team, so that was a carrot for them to get them over. Yeah, there was some, to that next level.
There was some. Can we give you a
that's
different
the exception
team?
of the rule of the teams? That
I mean, there was
Cincinnati's
teamship was closely related in some ways to our impending doom. It was like a consolation team for Ohio, right?
Sure.
I mean, anyway.
I good point. I mean, there was more. There's more moving parts in that.
Yeah, and honestly, these scenarios, the Riverhound fan that wants to see their team do the, Rocky or whatever, this outside chance of them winning their way to the final.
Was Apple going to even cover this?
No, and that's the other thing. We were watching it on a Wednesday on some live stream from a guy's phone.
Yeah, remember how bad the coverage was too on that?
Yeah.
So even you can tell
Nokia.
That tells you everything.
I remember
you need to know.
Nokia being mentioned a few times.
I love saying Nokia phones from somebody's thigh. Yeah, it's just the reality is I think they just were in the boardroom and they were like, but there's a lot to it. But I mean, I'm sure the people are sitting there looking at CCL, they're looking at the regular season, they're looking at Leagues Cup, and they're just going, where's the money? Or do we want to spend? Because I feel like it would cost the league money to make this happen. Or Apple, it's like, how many? What's the point? And they're like, screw it.
It's money and eyeballs, and let's put it like this: we can get the worst team in League MX here, and the stadium will be full.
Yeah, correct.
pretty much. So if we can put in Riverhounds or like a local team here, and you'll get like 1,000 travel, not even 1,000 travel.
That's the other thing too, is like for all the outraged fans, when we actually had a game and 2,000 people showed up, it's like, come on, guys. Like, I don't want to. I get it. It's nostalgic. It's all those things, but I'm just not that disappointed. And I can be the villain. I'll take the Twitter hate, but
leave me out of that. So let's take a break here. When we come back, we got a couple other topics. We want to talk about personnel and go through just what the season looked like too. So let's do that when we are back. We'll be right. Trap.
This episode of the Upper 90 Club is brought to you, as always, by Supporter Supply Company. Hi, friends, this is your good pal Morgan Hughes, here to talk to you about a serious issue facing 96% of all crew supporters in Columbus. Why, not enough free shipping, of course. For a limited time now, through the eventual heat death of the universe, Upper 90 Club listeners can use the promo code Upper90Boys. That's boys with a Z on the end of it, at checkout for free delivery on absolutely any order over $10. But Morgan, what if I order $10 worth of stickers, or those goddamned buttons, or some other combination of small items that make you want to kill yourself? Will the free shipping still apply then, even as you curse our family, while you package up our little tiny annoying ass order for us? Of course it will. That's just how much we here at Supporter Supply value our friends at the Upper 90 Club. So head on over to supportersupply.co and use the promo code Upper90Boys. That's boys with a Z at checkout for free shipping on all your orders over $10. And don't forget to tell them that your friends at the Upper 90 Club sent ya.
All right, we're back. We've been talking in the break, and I just feel like we should just keep talking. We're still talking about Open Cup. So hold on. How many teams are they going to do in MLS, you think?
Well, we're going to be 30 here, not after next year. Because
that is too many.
Be at 30.
It's not next year, but it's
how many NFL teams are there? 32.
32.
I think that's when you're starting to meeting your max.
Well,
but then again, but you have a full season versus football. You can only play so many games, I guess.
Yeah. And Premier League is 20 teams.
You play home and away.
So home and away, they play 38 games. Yep. We play what? About the same? 38?
32?
32.
No way. It's not 32.
34.
34, yeah.
34 games in the regular season.
Yeah.
34.
Do the math. You can add.
But yeah, if you're thinking about it and it's like you play home and away, you know, how many is that? 18 games for
38.
Yeah,
you talking about for the conference?
If it's 18 teams, no, in the conference will be 20 teams.
So
right?
if there's 15, if there's 30 teams and it's 15 and 15, but you're also subbing in CCL, Leagues Cup, and whatever, you're still playing a ton of games. I bet you they end up doing divisions.
Yeah, I think Don Garber. I think I saw a quote where he declared that U.S. Open Cup is not Rizz enough for MLS to participate.
Yeah, all right. Everyone has to say Rizz.
Wow.
That's what I said.
The podcast, yeah.
That's what I said, and you guys just were sleeping. Haas finally showed up.
Haas really has risen. So there you go.
He Rizz.
You know,
those don't count.
He was born on December 20th.
Really Rizz to the occasion right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know, guys.
Yeah,
I think that this whole Open Cup thing is like really interwoven with what the identity of the MLS is, which we are seeing continues to evolve. We have teams joining the league. We have tournaments being added to the schedule. I mean, I think if Leagues Cup doesn't, if Leagues Cup doesn't debut this past year, I think probably the Open Cup doesn't have such a spotlight on it. I mean, for MLS teams. I don't know.
Yeah, keep in mind they just completely switched the playoffs this year. They're like home and away, home. They're just adding stuff. Just because it's gone this year doesn't mean it's gone forever. Because
Yeah,
You don't know
that's
what
true.
Dong's going to
That's
do,
true.
man. He's doing anything. I mean, he also, keep in mind, this is the guy that started out the MLS by saying, I want to make this like the NFL. That was
Correct.
a direct quote from Don Gaber. And which I understand where he was coming from at the time.
And NFL doesn't
Don
play
Gaber.
XFL and AFL or whatever the
XFL.
XFL or whatever.
Yeah.
else,
Yeah,
right?
Dwayne
Sure.
the Football Johnson.
Yeah, that's his name, Dwayne the Football Johnson.
Dwayne the Football. Dwayne it. No, but what was I thinking?
Yeah, pretty
now?
much
The,
like it, just because if we don't do it this year, if we're not in it this year, doesn't mean it's going to die. It doesn't mean that we're not going to bring it
The
back.
product has to
You
be
know,
better, and the interest have to be better. Investment in it have to be better. The marketing of it have to be better. The interest have to be there, and it's not. And it's
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is what I wanted to say, and we don't have to talk about this because it's way off topic. But speaking of interest, did you see that the NBA now has a soccer style tournament that goes on mid-season, and it just like it's
Yes,
already
no,
done.
it is a thing.
Yeah, it was like
It's
right at
called
the beginning of the
It's called
season.
the in-season tournament, like IST, like it has a name, and
The
the
IST?
Lakers just won it.
Yeah. Oh,
The
that's right.
Lakers
No,
just
okay, I
won
didn't
it.
see that. Yeah.
They do like a group stage, and then they and
Do they get a ring?
There is a trophy. Oh, and the Lakers took some flack for they flew a like a banner, like a pennant at the crypto crash arena or whatever it's called. But then the other thing I wanted to say about it was I know we're off topic, but it's just too funny.
What is the world? What is happening?
No, they were interviewing the players because they ripped the tournament off from soccer so directly without thinking that they did like the first tiebreaker in group stage as point differential.
Yes.
And so they had these
I
teams
did hear that.
were
Yeah.
just, because it's like, they're scoring like 198 or whatever. So they had these teams that were like trying to make it in based on tiebreak point differential, and they were like running up the score on teams where
Shooting
they like
trees
historically they
Yeah.
would not have done it. Like you could read the quotes; it's pretty funny. They're
I
just
wonder
like,
if they're not
it felt
tied.
kinda like
If they're
They
like
had to
tied
win
at
by
the end of the game.
24.
Like if they're tied at the end of
Yeah.
the game, do you get like a free throw and someone's like trying to block it? Like it's a PK.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Yeah.
you
A
fake
shootout.
it, but you can only like move 1 foot or something like that. It's like
A
we
challenge
fake.
3-pointer.
Guys,
That would be
we
awesome.
are not the podcast to be discussing the NBA.
It's just a game of knockout to break the tie.
yeah,
Horse.
Bring up your best three.
horse, around the world.
All right, but I think it. We talked about interests, and I just to changing your gears or the gears a little bit. I want to talk about this season and the interest of people that I know, because I know a lot of parents, obviously, and I know a lot of kids through my kids. And they're
Staring
really
at the
fun
kids.
through the season. You stop it. But the positive way of playing style and all of those things have really caught the eye of a lot of people already before the playoffs, and I just seen a lot of people just getting hooked.
Do you
on the
think that
crew,
was what
even
Bez thought
before
when he
the play-
hired him? When he was going after him? I've been thinking about that. Like
Nancy.
win or lose,
Nancy.
going after Nancy
It's-
is going to like draw neutrals to this game because it needs more
It's
flash or
positive.
something like that. I mean, it worked. I mean, obviously
No.
it worked. You think it was
Winning
more like
helps.
a win? It was a
Winning
winning thing?
helps. 100%.
Winning helps.
Yeah,
Winning
You've
helps
heard the
100%.
comparisons to Lasso, Ted Lasso,
Yes.
yeah.
which is like ubiquitous, right? Like, I mean, everyone saw that show, and Nancy.
Yeah.
You pair that with the winning in his post game interview. It's for anyone with a heart. It's like I'm in.
Yeah.
Put it like this: we won with quite a bit with Porter. We never get like that kind of, because it was kind of
Goblin
he
mode.
wasn't like-
goblin mode. It was
Yeah.
ugly, and we just did it. This is such a positive vibe around the club. It's such something a movement within the club that already started before we even knew if we were like in the playoffs. We were like in June. We're already buzzing about this team, right?
Right.
We're really buzzing about there was so much positivity. Let's see where this could take us. And I think it built with that. I took a lot of people to games this year that wanted to go really bad, heard a lot of good stuff. And there's just been a bunch of interest. And obviously with the playoff, we have won the MLS Cup before, but I went into one of these.
It's different.
Yeah, I went to the Rally or whatever it's called, the Rally store, whatever they call it.
Dick's Sporting Goods?
But they sell all the.
It's called Rallies.
Rally House.
Rally House.
Rallies. Rally Burgers. They have the season prize.
Rally
They
House.
had checkered flags
No,
everywhere.
they sell crew gear, and I said, you guys go through quite a bit of this. It's insane. We never sold so much of one thing since more than when Ohio State wins the national championship, because everybody already owns Ohio State gear, right? People went out and buying it, so it's pretty cool. And we see that also in the. We just saw it was posted that we sold out all of our season tickets for next year, right?
Correct.
Which is, I believe this is the first time that has ever happened, right?
First time ever happened.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
We had all those
how many
sellouts
tickets is
leading
that?
into. I mean, I don't know when
that
we
like 15 or
started
16?
selling
16,000
out
tickets.
games,
That's
Yeah.
insane.
What was the-
Remember the goal was
What was
10K back in the day?
What's the 10K when we signed on to the whole trying to keep the team here?
Yeah.
We all have to sign on the season tickets thing. Was it 10,000? That was the goal.
Yeah, and they
Well,
sold a bunch, but it
11,800,
wasn't
but-
I think it was 8.5 or something like that. It wasn't really close to 10K, but 16K is insane. Remember, we didn't even have
twice that.
six. Yeah, almost. Who knows? Who knows that?
It's Matt.
That means
out your
no. The
calculator.
nice thing about this is, obviously the people that have the tickets most of the time will be gone. I sometimes have a problem with people when people buy a season ticket, they might not go, and you see empty seats because they didn't get rid of their or share the season tickets. Hopefully, people share tickets they can sell. But the interesting thing here is it's only 4,000 tickets that are available to the market. And then it's
after
going to
that.
become more and more a hot ticket. And I think that's a positive thing actually for interest.
Ultimately,
because people
but
are
I'm worried it's going to be
that's a good ticket to get a
Blue
hold of.
Jackets.
It's not given away anymore.
Well,
Where
and
it's
some
like
of those
$100
are
or something.
Nordic tickets because Nordic has an allotment
lot, yeah.
that they are able to sell.
Yeah.
Is that not in the season ticket
It's pretty wild.
amount? Yeah, it seems like, people show up to games Ohio State has 150,000 people. That's normal. This season was normal, and for the people who haven't been fans for the past even 4 years, that's not a thing, dude. Back in the Porter
city
days, it was 11,000 people were
winners.
just. Yeah, that's true.
But
If you win in the city, people will come.
I will take the other thing too, though. The other thing is anybody, even last year, anybody that has gone to a good game at the new stadium, where the product is so much better, the atmosphere and the sound, and kind of when Nordic gets going and everybody gets going, and how the sound stays in there, they want to come back. I have
It's a
people that went
production.
last
Anyone
year
considering-
when we
yeah.
weren't good, and they wanted to come back this year. It's that was so cool last year. I want to come back again.
I
this
had
year.
fun in the Blue Jackets, even when they lose. Their production value in there
You mean
now
even when they
rivals the
win,
crew.
'cause,
Yeah, because
Even
if
when
you
they're
go
garbage.
now,
Oh, yeah,
what
they're
is there
garbage.
3,500
Hot
people
garbage.
in there? I mean,
Yeah.
unless we play Toronto and everybody from Canada's coming down.
no, Blue Jackets are
No,
fun, but
but
Yeah, oh, no, I love
Yeah.
Blue Jackets.
For
It's a
anyone
fun
thinking
game, win or lose.
For anyone thinking about building a new soccer stadium, put a roof on it,
Yep, hell yeah.
right?
Just over
What
the
is that?
fans, at least.
Yeah, I don't.
or
There's
just
no
get
covered
so drunk
soccer
that you look
stadiums, are
up
there?
and think there's a roof on the stadium,
Atlanta.
and you have to be told there's not.
But
Not-
it's a football
that was
stadium.
weird.
It happens.
Yeah, but they
Optical
open
illusion.
it, don't they?
Yeah,
Like a magic
Atlanta.
guy.
they can.
They can, yeah.
It's exactly what it was, Ben.
They got little robot aliens that do it.
Yeah, U.S. game. Bad.
It's weird.
Sorry.
Okay, so something else we wanted to talk about, we can weave this in too, is just what this season has looked like.
What? a journey.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, it just
crazy.
going back to this time last year, we talked about this during the off season last year. We were tracking the contract statuses of the players, and I see. Let's see, we have this here. Oh, this was this. Ben, is this thing you posted here?
Yeah, it was
our
the
roster
beginning.
at the
The thing that I thought was crazy is I look back at the beginning of 2023 and what contracts ended in December 31st of 2022, and I was looking at the team and I'm like, this seems like 4 years ago that these guys are on the team. Like, it is insane.
You want to read it?
Yeah, I mean, some of the ones that stand out. Artur was the first one. I mean, I think these are just alphabetical, but Artur, he went on to Houston, and he had a great year. Like he actually, in fair play, could have probably done pretty well in this system. They play like a similar system down there, but it just wasn't for us. He's just a little bit too old.
Similar to
doesn't have the legs to play in
alphabetical.
the system.
It's sort of descending by market value. Proceed.
Yeah, I don't know how yeah. So another person that we completely forgot that lost favor was Luis Diaz. Like, if you think about it, the beginning of the season, it was Yeboah or Diaz, and I was like, Diaz all day. Like, he was hurt, and I was like, I can't wait till he comes back. He's so fast. But even when he came,
but he's not good at soccer.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
I
he
said
was
so
only
fast.
good at soccer. He's quick to kick the ball as far over the bar as possible.
But Yeboah was like that, and Yeboah, like, Yao completely changed. I mean, that
because
he's a legend now. He's a legend now.
Yeah, exactly.
Hustles
He's turned
back.
into fucking insane.
We said this so many times. What's the biggest difference? He hustles back. He really can hustle back. And also, he has a really good left foot, and they can actually cross the ball.
But he didn't. And that wasn't his MO. He was like that's not how he was before.
Oh, yeah, no.
Keep
they
going.
changed.
You know what I mean?
He's changed.
Mensa.
This is the coaching, right?
But Diaz did.
Let's just go through the list. Artur, Diaz,
and Mensa was the big one. So Mensa, we were on the pod. We talked about Mensa, losing Mensa. That was our captain, our long-term center back. He came to the final. He gave me a big hug. He smelled delicious.
We got Eloy Room. That was our starter.
And Santos.
Yeah, Santos went
to DC.
Etienne to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Marlon Harrison, he was getting a lot of minutes prior to this with Porter.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Hurtado.
Yeah,
the best $60,000 a year ever spent.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Like I said, Igbe Hurtado. Oh man, Perry Kitchen. Perry Kitchen was also like highly thought of. Like
he's in the Molino category with me, where his knees
exactly. He's exactly
poor guy. But
and the last one is the Ani Baba. He was the other center back that we brought in. Just a bunch. Honestly, if you're looking at this roster, it was just a bunch of. I hate to say it, like misses from.
So this was,
or it might have been. Might have been prior to.
That was prior to the season started. That was right after the end of the season when.
Right. This was like January 1st almost.
So this is even before season started. The only official one in this season here was Mensa at the very, very before kickoff, right?
Yeah.
But how many people did we just list? We just
Room,
listed like
Degnick.
Yeah,
a guy called Zel Rayan. When we come to that, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of what I'm saying is like I'm looking at these guys going like we at the beginning of the season we have a new coach, a new system, and we just liquidated the team. Like all these dudes who were here.
We got rid of like how many defenders? We didn't have defenders.
This is
we were looking at Craigslist for defenders for a while.
Yeah. I'm interested. So let's talk about just before we wrap on like people who were on the team at the beginning of the season or around this time last year. You guys mentioned it. Eloy Room. Who else did I say? Oh, Degnick. When
Degnick and Zel Rayan went in the summer.
Yeah,
July. They left in the summer.
Yeah,
correct.
But they were on the team at the beginning.
Yeah, they were
starting.
playing.
Yeah.
And
July 24th and July 31st,
31st,
respectively. I didn't realize how close those were together during the season.
Well, and wasn't Degnick injured when he I don't think he had come back from that injury.
And
Keep in mind the World Cup happened and he was like touted as one of the best. Remember, like they had a deep run
for Australia,
and I don't doubt that we sold him way higher than we paid for him. It was a complete money move, and don't get me wrong, like we were better off without him, even though I did like him as
So-
like a lockdown defender, but it's just
Yeah, so let's look
crazy.
at our starting lineup against Philadelphia. I think it was in February, very end of February. Our opening game
the
against
first game.
What do they call it? It's not Christmas. It was like thanks crewing or something.
Cruise giving.
Cruise giving.
Yeah, all right. Thanks.
Yeah, cruise
Thanks
giving.
for that. Yeah, so Schulte did start because Room was hurt, right?
Correct.
And then in the back line was Morera, Deganik in the center,
And the baby giraffe.
Quinton. Yeah.
Quinton.
Hold on, was he injured or was he like visa problems? In the
Oh,
Visa
you're
problems.
right. It was. The first
hold on.
game was.
Let me do bunny ears here. Visa problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, come to think about it. Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think those were visa problems at this point. Now that we look back at it, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Anywho.
actually true. Good call.
Well, okay. So Morera, Deganik, and Quinton on the back line, and then
Sands
midfield
was ahead of
midfield
him.
was
Yeah.
Farsi, Nagby, Morris, and Sands on the left.
and
Sands coming
Or
back.
Sands.
How about that? That's gonna
Yeah.
be
I think
interesting too.
if Sands did not get injured, he still would have played a big role in this team.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Hell
Yeah,
I
oh,
agree.
yeah. He was the man. I loved him. in the
he
beginning
was
of the
the.
season.
We talked
know.
about him every game that he was like the
The Sandman.
big positive on every game.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then Matan, Zelarayan, and Cucho up
Yeah.
top.
But Diaz got subbed
So
in,
not that
Rowe got
crazy,
subbed in.
not crazy different, really,
really
when
not.
we look at it here. Now, Schulte, that was kind of a coincidence. Schulte earned his way back in a handful of half dozen games later. And Farsi, I don't know, was Farsi a fixture on the right side all
Yeah,
season?
he started already getting a couple of minutes last season.
Okay.
He was
All
one
right.
of the few that come in last season and got some minutes. Him,
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
agree. I don't
more than
remember that.
anything, it was the back line,
Mhm.
right?
Correct. Yeah.
Where I remember, and I mentioned this last week, like we were just counting the days to the trade window because we had seen. I didn't spend the time to go through and like calculate how many different people we had play in the back line. Zawadzki was back there for a while.
We called it really early on this podcast what the issue was in the back line, and as soon as they made that switch, it was night and day. Quentin.
Yeah, Quentin had a hard time, you know.
Hello, Adam Hernandez here, fellow crew fan and Columbus-based artist, muralist, and designer. When I'm not making art, I'm looking at art. And when I'm looking at art, I want it to come to life. That's why I made my new augmented reality prints. What's an augmented reality print, you may ask? Well, I make my really cool psychedelic art come to life in the palm of your hand. Check out my website, ahernandezart.com, or at ahernandezart to learn more. They're really rad. ahernandezart.
So that Portland game, I felt like was hitting an Elites Cup. That was kind of the, we're shutting the book on the old crew. And I think after Leagues Cup,
but we didn't
opened the book of like what we
and
are
we didn't
now.
know that. We didn't know
correct.
that. And if I remember correctly, but going into Leagues Cup, this team was we were kind of where we expected to be with a new coach.
Actually,
right?
a little bit better even then. I was like,
yeah.
if-
Did you say sixth?
Yeah, it was like
Sixth in
fifth or
the
sixth or
East?
something like that in the East. And again,
Yeah,
now we
I
know
mean-
that like that would have been eighth in the entire
We were
table.
riddled. We were riddled with injuries.
Yeah, Amundsen was forced in the back.
through May and June. We didn't really. I don't know. I didn't feel like there was a real identity because of that rotating, the revolving door on the back line. So the lineup against Portland, which we lost this game 3-2
at the
in
death or something
Portland.
like that. Yeah, it was some mistakes. But that one was when Zawadzki
yeah.
at this point was playing center back and anchoring the team and doing pretty
Yeah.
well from what I remember. Amundsen and
Oh, yeah.
made
we were
his move back
surprised when
to-
Camacho went in and took the starting spot right off the bat. We were surprised because he had been really good.
He's been rock solid.
Morera.
But
Well,
Macho,
Camacho was signed August 1st.
yeah, and Macho Man delivered though, so I can't really. complain.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
this
it's hard to
lineup,
argue.
in mid-July before the League's Cup break was Schulte, because he had taken that. He had taken
That role
that
was
role
his.
full
Yeah,
time.
we had shipped.
I don't remember when we offloaded Room, but it was maybe around that time. Moreira, Zawadzki, Amundsen in the back, Farsi, Morris, Nagby, Yaboa on the left,
Room was
Zelarayan,
July.
Ramirez, Russell Rowe.
Yeah, the and this is like
top.
the difference in strikers. So we had Russell Rowe, Ramirez, and Zelly, and you got to think like all three of those didn't start or play. You know what I mean? By the end of the season, so we go into Leagues Cup, and it felt like I think the turning point actually was that America game.
That's what Nancy said.
That's what Nancy said, yeah, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
That's
said
weird. He
that.
didn't text me that. Pretty good friend.
Yeah, he said that. He said that.
No, he also said they lost against Orlando.
Orlando. Yeah.
We've been talking so much about where we've collapsed, but he said like, hey, this is one of the best teams. We show like if we stick with our principle, we can score a lot on any team.
And if we don't, we can lose too, I think was the message, right?
Yeah.
Like with the America game, it was like we can take down a team that we are not favored to win. With the Orlando team, they did the work and they just blew it at the end. And it's like, we had that game and lesson learned, right?
I think
you
after
have to
that,
play to the whistle.
I think after that Orlando game, we have one of the best defensive records. I bet if we go back, because in the end of the season for us, our defense, except for that one Atlanta game away, like
right.
in the playoffs there, we were pretty stingy.
Yeah, all the announcers kept saying like, "Oh yeah, the way they play, they give up a lot of goals and blah blah." I'm like, dude, we haven't given up goals for the last half of the season. Like coming off a Leagues Cup, we were like the second best team, like just smashing teams. So we come out of Leagues Cup, and this is kind of when we hit the ground running. Like if you remember before Leagues Cup, also Matan had vanished for like 5 games, and we were like, is he hurt? We don't know what's going on. No one knew what was going on. So, coming out of that was when we went out and smashed, Cincy at home. And it was Matan, Ramirez, Hernandez. And that's when Rossi subbed on. That was his first game. And then it was Yaboa, Morris, Nagby, Gressel. And then the back line was Zawadzki, Amundsen, Moreira, and Schulte. So, like, we had got our defined, like how we're playing, what's going on. And we were just missing, Camacho from, like, the full team. But it's just crazy to think about the arc of like where we started. We listed off 11 players that at the beginning of 2023 that were out of contract to our team now. And I think this is actually a good time to talk about like moving forward, what our actual team looks like. Cause I'd like to talk about Gressel. Like the first thing we noticed is someone sent out a text or someone was on Twitter and they're like, dude, Gressel's house is for sale. And that was during the parade. And we were like, what? Where is this at? And I don't know who.
Didn't he say that the announcement from, whatever you guys sent out, I don't know who published it, that had the contract statuses.
Yeah.
He was listed as retiring. Is he done?
No.
And by the way, he said he in his interviews about that has been very positive. It's been like, this has been a great experience. If I'll ever have a special place in my heart, I can't look forward to coming back and playing against these guys, yada, yada, yada. So very positive to it, but wasn't the right spot for him, I guess.
No, I think at the end of the day, he won a championship. He didn't dislike his teammates. No. It wasn't anything negative, but it just wasn't his style that suited his play.
And it was proven in the end. It was pretty clear who the starter was in the playoffs. There was no doubt,
which is crazy. Although credit to him for the Cincy game. The Cincy game was all
hopefully
him.
We can bring in more talent to battle with Farsi,
which we did.
That spot.
I think that Colombian under 22, because the under 22 initiative, a broad stroke of this is like the under 22 initiative. You can have expensive under 22 people and it doesn't hit DP or other like salary cap stuff.
But we haven't signed anyone. Nothing official has happened. They're in talks.
Yeah. Correct. But that's somebody who could do something like that. Plus Will Sands is coming back. I know he's on the left, but that's somebody else. So, I mean, it was great having him. He came in for like a short amount of time. Like I said, I talked to Micheletto. He did the same thing for Akron. He came in and only played 4 months and like won the championship or something like that.
Well, and yeah, I mean, we'll have to see where we have needs, right? I mean,
that's the thing. Where do you guys think we should? What do we need?
Because it would be foolish for us to sit back here and say, play the same team, get the same result, right? Like people are going to get hurt.
We're playing 1,000.
I think it would be even more foolish after what we just spoke about with how many changes happened.
That's what I'm saying.
This team,
yeah,
to like project anything more than 3 months ahead to a starting lineup for the beginning of the year. Like,
I mean, we have looked at a midfielder to help. I think it was Derek Jones.
That's right.
He's potential free
he
agent.
He also plays as a center back, I think.
Yeah,
we need center back depth. We need wing back depth. Yeah. And skill to challenge the players for the starting position.
Are you saying Derek Jones is a potential potato?
Potential.
But, and I mean, I think the Crew, didn't we just obtain 2 international roster spots from Seattle?
Today. We
did.
Yep. First
because we asked nicely. I don't know. MLS is
for Garber cash.
For Garber bucks.
No, it was Drew Carey cash. It was the price was right.
The price
$325,000 in 2024 GAM, general allocation money.
Yeah.
So I think to your old point, that's probably where we're looking at somebody to fill in for Gressel, somebody to fill in the defensive middle as an option. But other than that, I mean, I would say if everybody's coming back on top, somebody that didn't really get a whole lot of shots or like opportunities, I would say in the very end, Russell Rowe is a player that definitely have potential to have an impact. Hanging around if he stays around, because
from what I read,
going to be for Russell Rowe is he might want to move on.
He's in the top 5 MLS like hot signings or whatever. Like
he plays for Canada, scores on both ends for Canada.
Yeah, you're going to see all sorts of crazy rumors right now.
You
can't believe everything.
Them all. No, you believe them all. You got to believe them all. The internet's never wrong.
Is there any kind of word? Is there a word you could use to describe him?
Eyes Rizz, baby. I said it first. So I'm
different haircuts sometimes. You have that like, yeah.
Hey, so and then coming out of that Cincy game, I think we saw this team, as save for the Camacho Zawadzki swap. This was kind of the team that carried us to the finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. It's such a great run. Okay. You want to talk Champions League? When does that start?
Oh, CONCACAF Champions Cup.
For the Crew, it doesn't start till Wednesday, March 6th.
Okay. All right.
So they
will play the winner of Houston or St. Louis City
away, and then at home in the second leg.
It's going to make the beginning of the season schedule quite crowded.
Yeah, because last year our season home opener was on my birthday, March 4th.
Happy birthday, Mort.
Well, I'm just saying that was right in the window. Yeah, I like to announce when I have birthdays at my age, because who knows how many I will have.
Jeez,
hey, so I don't think we talked about it. I don't think we talked about it, but explicitly. But
we talked about it explicitly.
No, we mentioned the fact that many are staying. Gressel is out. Madronda's out.
Viacia, they're going to let expire.
Repeat.
They declined.
Gressel, Madronda, Williams.
Oh yeah,
Jake
Williams.
Morris.
We knew Josh.
Brady Scott.
Parente.
And Parente.
Yeah.
Okay.
Miss Arvston stays.
And Viacia's loan ended.
Right.
He saw the field a lot.
Yeah, I am very interested in
he was the catalyst for the pronunciation segment.
Wait, who was it?
I think it was mostly
Exactly.
I think it was mostly away players. To put
It was
that way.
like
opposition players that made that list.
His last name is mostly L's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so, and on that note of who they did not exercise options on, they did exercise their options on Schulte, Farsi, Quinton, Sands, Matan, Molino, and Zawadski.
And how much for Molino again, everybody?
Did we confirm that it's
I heard
$750,000?
$750,000. Is that right?
Cannot be correct.
They could have put Cucho, Rossi, and Cucho.
Hernandez.
I was gonna make it, if you check the
and
outtakes,
Hernandez.
Yeah, right.
Our
that's what I
man
was gonna
Kevin
say.
has some good naked pictures
hey,
of somebody.
They could have put
Yeah.
Ramirez.
100%.
They could have put Ramirez, Cucho, and Rossi in a Maybach, but no, they brought Molino back.
But I think the exercise, to your
Molino
point,
back.
Haas, the exercise, the extension, and that means that he stays on his current contract that probably have an inflationary increase on it. Like we all get at this time of year, maybe.
I don't know what
If
you're
you
talking
perform.
about. You said inflation.
But I would
No.
say that his contract by the minute is probably one of the best contracts ever signed in MLS history outside of
100%.
Messi.
Besides Bobby Bonilla.
Who? Molino?
Molino? Yeah, per minute played?
Oh,
you kidding me?
Well, but this is the point I made was if you're gonna have the Sunday car, you better be out driving it. Like,
No,
like,
it sits in the garage like a Porsche, Anybody has a Porsche in the garage, you polish it off and it sits there.
He delivered on that God, man. Was it the Atlanta game he had an assist, bunny ears? And, and then
the MLS assist.
and then he had a true almost a hockey assist or whatever to Cucho against
to Ramirez.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, and he was fouled in the final, and that should have been a PK, and he would have taken the PK because
you just wanted him to score. No one is saying what you're saying. That's like,
with my mouth. I say it with my mouth.
Okay,
Hey man,
all right,
I do
let's
want to
move on.
shout. I want this on record because I was always a Molino defender, kind of. We did re-sign Quinton. I still will stand that guy will be a solid player.
Oh, I said that all. He will come. He will come good. He'll become a solid
easy, boy.
center defender.
He's gonna
Unless he
come
might not. He
somewhere.
might not fit the system that we have, though.
I think he does. I think he plays really well with his feet. I think he's got good foot skills. I think his defending positioning is bad.
Well, that's somewhat critical for a defender.
Listen, I don't know how soccer is played.
If Nancy believes, I believe.
That's the first thing I look at in the
And if Bez
defender.
believes.
Can he do a good Cruyff?
If Bez believes.
Can he do?
Yeah.
In Bez, I trust. Yeah, on this one.
I have been able to sit back and watch this team be ahead, be behind, and still deliver the cup. And it's great. It's great. If they
You
believe, I
believe that we will win.
Oh, don't.
Yeah.
No,
You
no,
said this
I
team-
absolutely
believe
you
that
say
if
this
they
team-
believe
No.
that I
Bez
will.
leaves in
This
love.
team can
Someone-
deliver from every angle, is what you're saying.
wise
Yeah, they can.
man has the power.
All right, clip that. All right. What
That
else?
wasn't pitching,
We got
that was
one
right on
more.
front.
We got one more thing to talk about before we go here.
Hey, while we're looking for stuff, I would like to shout out the crew Discord. In the crew Discord, I entered the Secret Santa and I got my gift today. Because I don't get lots of gifts, I actually just put it under the tree because I want to open it on Christmas Day, but I got one.
Hashtag dad.
Yeah, but I sent one out, and I'm sure by the time this publishes, he'll get it. So I actually got Bird. So that was kind of the bomb. But definitely go check out the Discord. It's awesome. Like we do stuff.
At least
like-
you didn't get
like this.
who did you
Yep.
who did you get blacklisted from sending packages to?
Way.
Wait.
He swears up and down. He's like, no, it's fine. It was totally cool. And I'm like, was it though?
It was totally cool. Just don't ever send me anything
Anything again.
ever again.
Forget my address.
Yeah. I moved.
Yeah.
I moved.
He sent
leave
me a
my
dead
number.
Because of what
bird.
you said.
Yeah.
Return to sender.
By the way, shout out to everybody listening. It's been
Yeah.
fun to see everybody kind of joining the club and joining in the conversation.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's been a really great season to watch and kind of document. I mean, it's so crazy that we jump on here and talk about these games every week and feel really really lucky to be this far into the postseason, because as we said at the top, last year we got into this like hoping to get into the postseason and it just ended.
We didn't know what to do.
What
do you want to talk about?
Yeah, we talked about the World Cup. We happened to have a World Cup. It was like a leap year kind of situation. Like, well, I guess we'll just talk about the World Cup now. But but we prefer to talk about the Crew, and it's been really, really awesome to enjoy this journey that doesn't happen very much. Mort, you talked about it to your kids, and it's true. Making it all the way and putting another star on the jersey is not something that happens very often, and so it's been great. So
let's just revel in our championship for the next 12 weeks, and just I'm going to echo what Mort said and say thank you to everybody who has tuned in and listened and engaged, and for the other 4 guys that are on this podcast, it's been phenomenal. What a great year. But yeah, let's go through.
I'm not crying.
Cheers.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, you guys ready? Go.
Merry Christmas and Happy Crew Year.
Thanks everyone for joining the club. We hope you'll listen next week and every week, even in the off season, to celebrate or commiserate. We'll save you a seat. If you like this podcast, please give us 5 stars and subscribe. You can email us at upper90clubpod@gmail.com. That's upper90clubpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at upper90clubpod. Go Crew!
Down with Christmas.
Hold on. We got to start over. I said down with Christmas.
Yeah.
Is that because it's because of Hosmas?
Okay,
That's how I feel about Christmas.